Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey, here once again with another video on just some DC news. So as we know, Superman has wrapped filming. That happening around 3 weeks ago or so from now. I don't know when it was roughly, but of course that means the post-production stuff is in the works. But due to that wrapping up, everyone is now wondering, okay, what's next? Now, we know there are various projects either just waiting to get going on the filming side of things and just sort of fleshing out more of its crew side of things, such as Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, and Waller. Supergirl's looking to film, I think, at the beginning of next year, roughly, and then Waller might start by the end of this year or something like that, hopefully. And then there are other shows getting closer to putting together its main features, such as Lanterns and Booster Gold, which then pushes them into the countdown stages of production commencing. But since San Diego Comic-Con about a few weeks ago, roughly, I guess almost 3 weeks ago, if not exactly 3 weeks ago, we have gotten some reports about some upcoming DC studio projects. Some of them are unofficial reports, so scoops, with some stuff coming from James Gunn, not Gunn himself, as well as a report from a larger outlet that maybe puts some more pressure on James Gunn's shoulders heading into next year, the release of his new film, that of course being Superman. But of course, throughout this video, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below your various opinions on the stuff we go over. Always curious to read what everyone's thinking. And of course, if you're going to enjoy the video, want to drop a like, takes 2 seconds. So the first thing to go over, this isn't really in order of importance, just how I've written it down essentially, but this is a report about a new animated series apparently in early development at DC Studios, and this is going to be obviously set within James Gunn's upcoming DCU, this being Deadman, the animated series. Of course, this character often a part of Justice League Dark. This report is actually coming from Nexus Point News, with them stating, according to our sources, we can exclusively report that one of these will be an animated series centered on the character Deadman. DC Animation's Deadman series is in early development currently with no writers or scripts in place and has yet to receive the green light. Of course, it wouldn't get the green light until just a pilot or some sort of idea of what the show is going to be, exists. Now, overall, my thoughts on this is James Gunn had sort of put out a Deadman thing on Instagram or social media whenever it was. It was probably end of last year or something. I can't remember exactly when it was, but it wasn't like yesterday. It was a while ago. So people assumed that this would happen. So once again, this scoop could just be going, okay, well, he posted that a while ago. We'll just leave this quote unquote scoop until now. But I wouldn't be surprised if this happened. It's just one of those weird characters that you could see James Gunn being attracted to, and not in a weird sense, but in a, oh, this could work sense. This sort of goes in line with what I've thought, is that you're going to get your main ones that aren't too risky that go to live action, or at least they can get someone and put their face on it and put them into live action, and then your riskier project go to animation, like Creature Commandos. It's very risky, it's very niche, goes to animation, and Deadman the same, and it also allows you to do more with it. A Deadman show probably wouldn't be overly cheap, especially if you wanted to go overly supernatural with it. It's the same with Creature Commandos. Even just from the small teaser we got for Creature Commandos, if they did that in live action, it would have cost a lot of money. Doing an animation saves it. Now, of course, we would assume, like we were saying with Creature Commandos, that whoever is cast as this hypothetical Deadman show, or cast as Deadman in this hypothetical Deadman show, goes on to play him in live action, depending on how they do Deadman in live action, I guess, but you'd assume that they would, I guess, be the inspiration for whatever the look is, I guess. But the second thing to talk about in this video is some unwanted pressure that is now being heaved onto James Gunn, and in particular his Superman film, which will be coming our way in a little under a year from now, and this is due to more updates on Warner Brothers Discovery's poor stock. It just continues to go down, with Warner Brothers also having issues generating income due to the decline of linear TV, which has been a staple for Warner Brothers since really TV's been around, and just overall losses in the sports broadcasting world. Of course, they seem to have lost the NBA deal that they had recently, and despite big hits like Barbie, Dune 2, and some others, I think Wonka was in the mix there, it's still a struggle for them to sort of even heave into some sort of impressive performance, if you want to put it. And unfortunately for James Gunn, his Superman film is now being eyed as a savior of sorts, or a very, very, very important pillar of what's coming up for Warner Brothers next year, which you would have to think it is. It's probably Warner Brothers' biggest movie. I'd assume so. It's Warner Brothers' biggest movie. I don't know if there's anything else coming out that surpasses it, at least in the next 12 months leading up to the end of the July. I think that's a lot of pressure, but it's not going to be a complete savior either, whether it succeeds. It doesn't mean all is fixed. but now it's like expected or hoped to perform at a level to sort of ease pressure on the stock that's going, or the issues with the stock and the like the portfolio that Warner Brothers has. Now, of course, this is something James Gunn would not want, because the results that Warner Brothers are expecting are, of course, on the financial side. It's not like, oh, we need 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's not what they're asking. They're asking for the ching dollar bills, not the actual quality side. As we all know, the best movie in a particular year could also not be in the top 10 grossing movies of the year. Sometimes they flop, even though people are like, man, this is a really good movie, it's my favorite movie of the year. They don't perform. Now, I think Superman will be in that top 10 box office next year, probably the top 5, maybe even the top 3, could even take the top slot. But Gunn has no control on the box office. That's for us, the public. So while he has now filmed that Superman film and is in the process of getting it ready, which we'll touch upon later as well, I'm sure the financial expectations of the film are probably something he would prefer not to be thinking about, especially when he's getting the movie done, especially considering he hasn't had a $1 billion hit as of yet, despite, 4 comic book movies or 4 Marvel and or DC movies. Though, to be, fair, he has handed smaller brands within those universes previously, like Suicide Squad and, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy. This is Superman, so maybe that $1 billion hit or film is coming his way, but who knows if that will be good enough for Warner Brothers and David Zaslav. Then we're like, oh, we need 1.5 or 2 or something like that. But of course, that's like a wait and see. Who knows what's going to happen over the next 6 to 12 months leading up to Superman. I think we're probably going to get to the point fairly soon where Warner Brothers being sold is another heavy conversation within the press because of what's been going down since Discovery took it over. The third thing, and I may as well combine all of this into one point, I think I will. It's just some stuff that James Gunn has said recently across social media regarding Superman, DC Studios as a whole, as well as Peacemaker Season 2. But in regards to Superman, someone asked him on Threads. I've noticed it, I think I mentioned in my previous DC News video, but James Gunn is back on Twitter, but he's still using Threads. Usually it's one or the other. Usually you don't see people using both. But maybe he committed to Threads and now he's just, oh, he's using it now sometimes. But I don't know. Anyway, someone said, would you say that you're 98% done with Superman? And he goes, heck no. Once you're done shooting, you've only just begun. Still lots of editing, VFX, sound, and scoring to be done. With someone adding reshoots can also add a lot on time too. I don't know. I've done a total of 1 day of reshoots on my past 2 films combined. Those 2 films, of course, being Guardians 3 and The Suicide Squad. And then someone did ask, what's your method for not doing a lot of reshoots? I'm curious, with him saying 1, over prepare, 2, don't start shooting until I have a finished script my whole team is happy with, 3, hire actors and department heads I know can do their jobs, 4, surround myself with people who will challenge me and not just yes sir everything, 5, ask myself daily, are there any small imperfections in the script or what we're shooting that might end up feeling like huge imperfections when we cut the film together, and then 6, 1 and 2 again. And my overall thoughts on this, like I saw people like really analyzing this and stuff like that. I mean, with the Suicide Squad, I think he was put into a corner where like COVID happened, so reshoots couldn't even happen anyway. I'm pretty sure I specifically remember saying like he planned reshoots because there was just some stuff that he wasn't overall happy with, but then COVID happened and his shoot, I think, got caught up with some stuff when they were filming some of the stuff internationally or whatever it was, and I think they wanted to reshoot that, but then COVID happened and it was like almost impossible to get the actors back to do that. Like if it was one actor then maybe, but like it was obviously the Suicide Squad was an ensemble film, so it was pretty much impossible to do that. And then with Guardians 3, like I think he just obviously planned that out very well and just follow those steps that he put there. But I think there's a big difference between those movies and this Superman film because one, he wrote, well, even with those ones as well, he writes the movies that he directs. So he's not directing someone else's script and then the studio comes back and forth with it. Like he wrote the actual thing. But then with Superman, he's the head of the studio. He's head of DC Studios or co-head. I highly doubt Peter Safran's going to go, hey, go reshoot that. So there's a lot of planning there. It's a very different situation. Like I'm sure, like if I'm going to be completely honest, when someone else takes another DC Studios film, whether it's Supergirl, whether it's whatever it might be in the next couple of years, some of those movies will just have reshoots just because it's a natural thing within filmmaking. It's just a natural thing. Like it's just going to happen. You can't avoid it. It's just going to happen, especially when you have different, like a writer or a director that isn't a writer in the film. It just happens so much. Even some of the best movies of all time have reshoots and, you know, and better movies than James Gunn's made as well. The next thing was someone asked, and this is sort of interesting to see because the response is like a non-answer, but it also is an answer at the same time. But someone asked him, "Hey James, is DC Studios going to be at New York Comic Con this October?" And he replied with the like thinking emoji or whatever, like the hand on chin or whatever it is. I think it would be weird. I mean, technically DC Studios was at San Diego Comic Con in like a very, very small way. So at New York Comic Con, I'd expect the same. Now, a lot of people think, is this going to be the first Superman teaser? It easily could. This does line up. It's not too far away from the premiere or the release date for Superman. It's also important to remember Superman will come out before next year's Comic Con. So they can't use Comic Con for Superman. So they've got to use, I guess, some sort of convention potentially to hype it up. Whether it's a teaser is another thing. They might do some like photos or something like that, or there could be like a really, really small teaser or something like that, but like not a proper trailer, like a teaser trailer at most. But I think you're probably going to get more looks at Creature Commandos, which releases in December, so only like what, 2 months or so after that. Maybe a first look at Peacemaker, whether it's a trailer or just once again just a couple of looks, like whether it's photos or just some short clips or something. I'd expect that, because New York Comic Con for me is something that I could see James Gunn use for TV, because there's also something around that period of the year which is a big thing for movies usually, and that's CCXP. So I could see New York Comic Con being used for TV and CCXP being used for the movie stuff, and that could be where we maybe get the first Superman stuff, is at CCXP. Would not be surprised at that. And also maybe even they might reveal some castings at CCXP potentially as well. New York Comic Con's not that big of a thing, especially for movies. It's mainly stuff for TV if they're gonna do stuff there, but it's more of like just a pure Comic Con that you would normally get in other random cities, just on a very large scale. So yeah, I would be very surprised if they did anything too big there. If it's anything Superman, it's going to be minor, like a short teaser, but even that I think would be a surprise. I'd expect the TV stuff there. And finally, there was something that just came out from Frank Grillo, where he was talking about like that he was on set and James Gunn was directing the episode that he was, you know, going to be filming that day, with Frank Grillo saying James just finished directing Superman. Now he's going to direct the show with no real break, and in between that he's running along with Peter Safran's DC Studios. I'm just curious, do some people have 48 to 58 hours in a day? With James Gunn replying, "Coming to work today is a blast. What fun we're having on this set. It's fun to be on an enormous set like Superman and then move to a more fun and fast and intimate show like Peacemaker. Variety and changing things up are creatively invigorating. I don't need more hours in a day because I'm focused when I work and I have a great team around me." So nothing really too major there, just the fact that he is directing. We know he's directing 3 episodes of season 2 of Peacemaker. It seemed like at the beginning of this season, they were just doing some stuff while James Gunn had time, or they wanted to use some of the stuff, like some of the sets at Superman potentially, that maybe they had a certain office setting or a certain location setting in a studio that was needed for Peacemaker season 2, and they went ahead and filmed it, and that was a bit scattered. But now they're back to being like consistent in regards to like a proper TV show filming schedule, I guess you could say. I think he might film the finale for this. I think that would be something that he might do. But yeah, I'm sure whenever we get around to that, that'll be the thing. Now, I did see that there was some more set photos, I think, that came out from Peacemaker. But they're being super strict. It's mental. They're actually like claiming it and giving accounts DMCAs. I did a video with the way, because like Peacemaker was filming in the area where Stargirl used to film, and I did the video and it got taken down. I got a copyright strike. It's pretty mental. First I've seen it in a while. Usually it's like official material, like an actual trailer that's like the stuff at Comic-Con or something like that. But this is just set photos and they're claiming it for a show like Peacemaker, which mental. Like, it's no offense to Peacemaker, but it's not like it's Lanterns or something like ridiculously important. So yeah, it was weird. But anyway, I saw some Twitter accounts like on their final warning because of it, so pretty crazy. But yeah guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, it'd be awesome if you could drop a like on it to show support. Let me know in the comment section down below your various thoughts and everything we went over in this video, and of course if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.